I've just written an email, really kind of blown away that a voice came to me in March of 2019 and asked me to open up a gateway of conversation between ourselves and the greater systems of reality that often come to us in vocal or forms, vocal forms or forms that we hear inwardly, or sometimes we hear it like a instruction or direction. But we've been taught to fear connection. So I don't even know if I could get across today the extraordinary experience that I've had, and hopefully others have had, coming on the calls with me the first Saturday of every month for a year, to listen to me kind of channel, although it's more like Moses in the desert that heard the voice of God, or of a God, a nature of being. And I was thinking about this morning, I was thinking how we filter it through our pre-existing understandings of society and of beliefs and of reality. But I'm very, very clear from the time I was very little, when I first heard what I called the voice, that I was very clear it was operating on my behalf. And then as I got older and at 19, I began to speak to people through my gift. I was very clear that the people I was speaking with, that the part of them I was speaking to was this beautiful nature of creation that human beings were, and the original nature, the original design of that creation, which frankly is love. You can't look outside at the world around you, the trees and the birds and the flowers and the sky and the earth, and not have a childlike experience. It's that you were given the opportunity to experience paradise, and that that something co-opted. Ramtha, a channel, J.Z. Knight's channel, says that there was a war among the gods. I'm not saying it's true or not true, and that there was a war for the control over the human psyche, the soul, human soul, and that was the first time that a god of wrath, a god that, and that's not true, it wasn't the first time. The first time, in those of us that have Christian or Hebrew heritage, but there were other gods that came and co-opted the original nature, the original design. Here, the Mayans and the Aztecs they worship through harvest, thanking that which provided the abundance of food and water and shelter, and then once they got visited by these beings, and then they began to make blood sacrifice. So there could have been a war of the gods here. I'm not saying it is or isn't. I only know the territory I come from, and the territory that stayed with me when I got here. I call them the realms of the beloved, just because I have to have a name to talk about them, talk about them. But from the time I was born, in so many stories I could tell you, I have always seen the original nature, the original design of human being, even in myself. I knew things were wrong, like in Sunday school. I used to tell the Sunday school teacher that was things she said were stupid. Obviously, I ended up not being in Sunday school for a while, forever. But because of why I said they were stupid is because it talked like we had done something wrong, that we weren't beautiful. And I could remember being beautiful in the eyes of um, the eyes of God. Because as a child, when they said God is love, I remembered God is love, and that I was loved and adored and cherished, and I was lucky to have a Papa Kid, a minister who, a Episcopal priest actually, who kept that awake in me and told me there were many forms, many expressions of the great wonders of creation, and that I could line up with the ones that loved humanity and loved this earth and this planet. And that's what I've done my whole life. But I kept it a secret for the most part, except people close to me, because humanity had been conquered by a fear, gods of fear, or gods to fear. And even though there is still, thank God, there is still a fervor in many people of many different faiths for that, this generating, organizing design we call God in many fashions is love, is life opening up into the victory of the eternal. There is that still there. But the point of now for me is that we got to remember, not remember the belief, not remember the dogma, not remember even the stories of the Old Testament, but more remember what resonates with us. That's why Jesus was popular, and Buddha, and in the beginning Muhammad, because they said that human beings were meant to love each other and to love themselves and to know that they were loved. How simple is that? And look how far away from that our psyche has become. We're not children anymore. We have been moving through a devastating period of time that has led us to basically the war of the gods. From the annihilist belief system of North Korea to the Jews and the Arabs and Christians fighting it out through oil prices and through Palestinians and Israelis, and now we have the moral majority here that's teaching us to hate everything that's not white and to carry guns, and it's a crazy time. But what's so beautiful about it is, if you could just hear the logic of it in what I'm saying, what's beautiful about it is of course this would be a time where the original nature, the original design here, the beingnesses that were part of the wonder and beauty of designing this place and this little creature called human to enjoy it. Surely that is not far flung, and surely that's not far flung. So we have one of the problems with human beings is they view everything as a human being. Squirrels, volcanoes, she, he, it, and we're given the properties of the emotions of human beings. It's a terrible storm, wicked virus. So the ability to be in touch with the original nature, the original design here is pretty crapped out. But in the meantime, there's always been the prophets and the seers. Yeah, I take that. I am in that position. And the mystics. And I can't tell you what it's like, and I so offer you the opportunity. I've heard the voice of what I call God, but I don't mean Christian or Muslim or Jehovah or entity or spirit. I mean a voice that made sense and calmed me and never let my mind close down. Always gave me the eyes of wonder and awe. Always let me see beyond the veil. Always. Always. And now you could say, I don't know for sure, but you could say that there is a disparity between the G.O.Ds that are not operating on behalf of life and having us exist as whole, and the generating, organizing designs of life that open us up into life, opening up into the victory of the eternal, where we never die, where our spirit carries on, and we can enjoy the wonders of the universe, both physically and non-physically. Paradise. That's as far as I'm going to go. I have not brought up deitic conversations forever, because the tenor, the instant shut off in the human mental mind, the fear of being manipulated, bamboozled, cajoled, and used is overwhelming, because the history of that which was not part of paradise here and its interruption of the ways of paradise here is very, very deep in the epigenetics of our tissue, not just the epigenetics of our human history, but the epigenetics of our G.O.D history. Just consider that there are beings that are part of the greater system of reality of which we're a part. Just consider. And that they are coming, that they find their way here, and they speak to us, and that we carry the properties of those that are the material of what we call love. In the second section of May, or in another section, next section after this, I'm going to read a section of the message, the structure of reality, given to me by a voice, a very clear being. I have such a sense of there actually being there out there somewhere. No idea where. I actually have such a strong sense of it. I could still hear his voice even today, or the voice. It sounded like a he even today. And I can't help but take this time to try to just try to introduce you to the wonders of creation, that which operates on behalf of life and has us exist as whole. I'm in the midst of working with someone who is fixing my computer. It's kind of interesting because it kind of like fits with this conversation I'm in, that it's so important to me to have you be able to get this opportunity to be alive with me in something that is available to us now, that has never been that available or that conscious to us in modern times. So it's a very significant moment in time, because the actuality of this is occurring. Otherwise I wouldn't be trying to have this conversation, because it would be ridiculous, because you wouldn't be able to hear me. You literally would not be able to hear me. But I'm taking the chance that you will hear me. It's very important to me that I take that chance, because something's happening, and because we need to be able to have it happen, and we need to be able to participate in it, and to be able to be part of it. We need this, because otherwise we'll suffer, and I don't want us to suffer. I don't want us to. I want us to be aware of ourselves as part of a great reality that is occurring. And I am determined over the next years to find ways for people's registers to come back online that made them part of the greater universe. Has them remember paradise. Namaste.